County Republican Party show. My name's Brandon Taylor, and I am the Lawrence County Republican Party chairman. And I've got a room full of awesome people in here, and even got folks on the phone. We've had a lot going on the last few days with the special session at the state capitol. It's been very exciting. And so in the room, in studio to my right, I have our very own state representative, Kip Capley. And across the table, I have Lawrence Sutton, chairman of the secretary of the Lawrence County Republican Party. I'm trying to promote you, Lawrence. Let's go ahead. Let's give you a little more work to do. You don't have enough.
No, I don't have enough.
Yeah, I'm ready to do something else, too. I get it. And then across from me, I got my good friend Cody Mitchell. He is actually the chairman of the Lewis County Republican Party. And with him, he has Caleb Thomas, who is on the Lewis County Election Commission. Gentlemen, I'm glad you're here.
Good to be here.
Yeah, it's really good to be here. Thanks for inviting us over.
Absolutely.
Yes, welcome to God's country.
And on the phone, absolutely. Yeah. Amen to that. You may not want to go back, guys. I left Lewis County. I didn't look back, so it'll be okay. It is a great place. I'm not belittling it at all. And we're glad you're with us. And on the phone, we have our state senator, Mr. Page Walley. Mr. Walley, can you hear us?
I can, Brandon. Good to be with all of you this afternoon.
Hey, glad you're on the line with us. We know you're in a meeting, and you had a few minutes to give us a quick update on what was going on in the Senate. Tell us what's on your mind this evening, Paige.
Well, I'm very pleased with the work that the Senate did and that ultimately the legislature did. You know, we were called back. I did not think it was necessary to hold a special session. Nevertheless, that's the governor's prerogative. He called us back in. And in this extraordinary session on public safety, and we accomplished the business he called us to do, passing most of the bills he proposed for us. And we have some new laws that aim to enhance our public safety by, encouraging responsible gun ownership. We speeded up background check process for purchasing firearms, and we addressed human trafficking. And we also then invested some significant monies into our mental health system, additional monies in K through 12 school safety. We also went on and invested a significant amount of money in higher ed safety. So Tennessee Southern, for instance, is going to be getting resources to make their campus safer.
Okay.
We probably had about $30 million for that campus security, $50 million for grants for community mental health centers like Centerstone down in that area, who are really struggling to provide community mental health centers to recruit and retain mental health counselors. We have $12 million for our Department of Mental Health Substance Abuse and Services to provide some retention bonuses as well. And that about covers it. So we had made a decision very early on our Senate side. The House went down a little different path, but that we were going to limit the bills we heard to those the governor proposed. We felt it was not responsible to try to take up hundreds of other bills that were filed without a lot of public input, without a lot of testimony. And those are some very good bills, but they can wait till our regular session to take care of. Extraordinary sessions are designed for just that, something extraordinary that can't wait.
So how many bills were actually tabled at the end of that through the Senate?
Well, there were I'm thinking there were 100 plus bills, nearly 200 bills that were filed overall.
Wow.
And we ended up passing really 4, 3, and then the appropriations bill that went with them. Many of these bills that were filed and were not heard, you'll hear them refiled.
Okay.
And to be considered in the regular session, which begins in January.
All right. So, there was a little bit of a ruckus going on there at the state capitol. One of the things that's on my mind now, and maybe I'm already 10 miles down the track, but forgive me, that's the way my brain works. Do you think we're going to have some problems in our next legislative session when we open up in January? Do you see some of the same type of protesting and things that we've seen? Do you think this is going to be a new norm for the state capitol?
Well, I'm probably better defer to Kip on that, because most all of that was covered was on the House side. I kind of joked that the House operates like kindergarten and the Senate operates like a nursing home. And so our sessions were pretty dull, I think, for most of the public. We didn't have those protests there. We had a lot of actually very orderly folks up in our balcony, and we didn't have the dust-ups that we heard about and saw on the Senate side. I'm sure that with some of those the Democratic representatives on the House side who are, I think, have shamelessly taken advantage of a tragedy for self-promotion, they're not going to stop.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely.
They're activists. They're not legislators.
These are not. We're just going to refuse to call these legislators. Legislators don't behave like this in a session.
No.
And they're behaving like activists, so we're just going to call it the way we see it.
It's interesting. As we were finishing our business on the Senate side, every one of the Democratic members spoke at some point just to voice their preferences, did it appropriately, did it civilly, and one of them made it a great point to commend our lieutenant governor who presides over the Senate for the civil atmosphere, for the fairness and whatnot. So it was a different environment. I think the House of Representatives, unfortunately, has been inundated by a very few, anarchists who are more like Bolsheviks in the way they act.
We agree.
You're speaking my language.
I think many of their own Democratic colleagues can't stand it, and yet they're not able to manage it. So just my point of view. Kip may see it differently, but that's just my thought.
No, you're right, Senator. You're right. We prefer the Roman Coliseum in the House over the kindergarten a little bit, but
it does make good TV.
It would make good TV.
It does make good TV.
Well, typically, when you guys get in a session, it's not very very inspiring. No one's popping popcorn and jumping up and cheering for one team or the other, but looked more like a football game trying to go down there instead of a session. Unfortunately, and I'm trying to make light of a sad situation because it's sad, but we are glad that it's over, and we appreciate, and I'm speaking for a lot of folks in Lawrence County and a lot of folks in this room, the fact that the Senate actually was finished. You were done. You were ready to get done and go home and stop some of the nonsense. And sometimes that's what you got to do.
That's true. And Kip and others were, I know they had hoped to do likewise, but, their leadership was just approaching it a bit differently. It was just a very different environment over there. But, we were getting a lot of encouragement from many House members, we being the Senate, to hold our ground and stay united, and let's see if we can do this orderly and close it down and come back when we should in a regular session and take up some of these other important matters. And I might say this, I want to thank all of the great folks from Lawrence and Wayne County, from Lewis and Marshall and Giles and others that came to Nashville, took time off from work, at their own expense, came up, and Kip and I and Clay Doggett and others were able to greet and to host, and you got to participate in your government. And that was extraordinarily valuable and encouraging because, it just, again, showed, and I spoke to it myself, that there are a lot of people that wish they could be up here to voice their opinion. They're not being paid, by some rabble-rouser to be here. They're paying out of their own pocket to be here, so we really appreciated that. And,
we'll say it while we got you on the phone and Kip in the same room. You guys treated us great. I appreciate all the hospitality. It was nice being able to go there. You made it easy for us to be there as observer and be able to also to participate. I enjoyed it for all the situation for what it was. I enjoyed the entire process. And I'll say in front of both of you, we're just getting started. We're going to be planning more events like this. That's why we got gentlemen like this across the table from me, Mr. Cody Mitchell, Caleb Thomas from Lewis County, and we're working with other counties as well. We're going to start having more of a presence in our state capital. We're not handing our state off to activists. It's not going to happen. It belongs to us. It belongs to the tax-paying citizens of the state of Tennessee, and we're going to take ownership. You have to take possession before you can take positions, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to take a possession of it so that they can carry positions, and we're just not going to sit at home and let that happen. And so we appreciate you, Paige, more than you know. Are you going to be able to be in studio with us next Wednesday at 5 o'clock?
I'm scheduled to do that. We're going to have I talked to Lawrence the other day. We're burying a great man, former Governor Don Sundquist, and he was Republican governor back when it was majority Democrat in the Senate and House.
Right.
And he did some wonderful things. I know, got caught up in some conversation about income tax that I think unfairly tarnished his image, but he was a good man, very good to me. He came out and campaigned for me when I was a Republican that was running in an area that no Republican had ever run or won, and he came and knocked on doors for me in 1990, and we beat a 16-year incumbent Democratic chairman back then. So I owe him a debt of gratitude. So we're going to bury him on Tuesday, and so I will be able to be there Wednesday in studio is my plan.
We're going to try to get Joey Hensley in here, and we hope to have an on-air arm wrestling competition between you and Joey. We'll start off right hand, then we'll go left hand, so we'll just call it conservative and liberal, see which one of you guys are better at which.
Let's get some tickets.
Sounds like
we're going to do anything we can to raise some
work
funds.
well together.
Thank you,
we
Paige.
work great together.
Hey, Paige, can I ask you one question before you get off? If you find any spines laying around up there, will you return them to their owners? Because I think some people lost theirs.
Yeah, they're definitely needing it.
Do that.
Hey, thank you, Paige, for everything you did for us. Looking forward to talking to you next Wednesday, having you here in the studio. God bless you, and we'll keep the Sundquist family in prayers.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye. All right, guys, so you can take the headphones off now if you want to. Just stay in your microphones.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot more comfortable.
Stay close to those microphones so you can hear
more
yourself.
comfortable.
Thank you, Maddie.
So, Kip, tell me, what did you think about your escapades up there? I mean, I looked at video, and it looked like you're about ready to WWE some people.
Man, it's just it's a mess. It's disgraceful. It's a shame that we got this going on in the people's house. I mean, we can dance around it all we want to, but they're communists. I mean, they're just outright just commies. My granddaddy'd be rolling in his grave if he knew that I just sat by and let this happen. I mean, it's disgusting. In the state of Tennessee, we've got now it's turned into about 3 or 4 Democrats that just control the narrative, and the media just kisses their rear end at every turn.
Well, because you know they say that's how democracy is.
That's right.
Democracy is dying, but I think we're in a constitutional republic.
That's right.
And,
That's
and
right.
as a constitutional republic, the majority sends their person to go speak, and I think the majority is the correct majority there for the state of Tennessee, and they're listening. The media is just putting on the minority.
Yeah.
But that's not what you hear. You don't hear about the real facts. We hear 80% of Tennesseans support gun laws, and the media pushes this on everyone.
And it's from 1,200 people taken by a Vanderbilt poll. So
That's right. That's exactly right.
Skew data all you want.
If you want to hear truth, be here Monday with Kip and myself, and then Wednesday. Yep. If you want to hear truth, you're going to hear truth. We're going to give you the truth. We're not going to sugarcoat it, and you're going to get live play-by-play what's happening.
Kip, we appreciate
through
you.
whatever right now. Absolutely.
Well, I mean,
we
we're
talk
here.
about whatever you want.
We're throwing things together, and I know it's kind of this is my way of saying it. So if I say it wrong, you can correct me. But we're kind of doing a decompression of what we've seen. The state's just come through this. We had Cody and Caleb scheduled to be in with us. And I'm glad you guys are here because you guys have done a lot in Lewis County. And part of this is one of the things that it's all tied in together. We didn't know it was going to kind of work out with the schedule, but part of it is the fact that one of my goals is to get our county parties involved what's going on with the state legislation. We've got to start meeting up there. We've got to start having conference rooms reserved. You guys need a couple reserved. We need to reserve a couple. We need to be up and down those halls during the regular legislative session. I don't care if you guys are just talking about a street name in a state park. We need to be up there because this belongs to the citizens of the state of Tennessee, and we can't hand it off this easy.
See, I stay pretty connected because which I'm on the school board there too in Lewis County. So I serve as like the state rep liaison for our board, and so I'm continuously I watch most of this committee hearings, and I stay connected because most board members they don't know where to go. They don't know who people are. So I'm all the time talking to Jody, I'm talking to Joey, I'm talking to our reps and seeing what's going on and letting them know how we feel, and which I was glad to see that more money was put towards school safety. If we were going to get something done, I did want to see more of that.
Yeah. Well, absolutely,
because I think the last two things that we've seen, one down in Memphis, we've seen that the hardening of a school works.
Okay.
This last one down in Florida, they went to university and was confronted by a security guard, somebody. They didn't really want to disclose a whole lot of that,
Yeah,
but
of course not.
but you know, they were confronted by somebody and they went to a Dollar General.
Right.
You know, so it shows that if you can harden a school, it will work.
It's successful.
So to me, it's which there's a lot of chairmen that don't serve on different things. They are a chairman, but to me, I sit on the school board too, so it's kind of a different perspective of things too.
I don't know how it is down in Florida, but I do know of some people that work in Dollar Generals, and they tell me that Dollar General does not allow them to have guns to employees even.
I'm sure most of your bigger ones.
And I'm sure that these people that are going to go do harm, they realize that.
Yeah.
Gun-free zones, 98% since 1950, 98% of all mass shootings happen in gun-free zones. And the liberal mindset is, and you know, I don't know if it is stupidity or it's on purpose, but they want to keep saying, well, we need less guns. We need less guns. No, we don't need gun-free zones. No.
Well, I think it's on purpose, because if they control the narrative, they feel like they control what's really happening in the real world. They're the party of emotions, not the party of facts. Yeah, and when that happens, they create their own facts out of emotions. They don't actually put.
You can't legislate off of emotions either, can you, Kip?
No. 'Cause I got a whole lot of emotions I'd like to legislate too, but we don't do that. You just can't. I mean, it would be impossible. You know, the thing that bothers me now is it and I don't want people to take this the wrong way when I say this, because obviously my heart goes out to the Covenant families. I've prayed for them, which I've said this. How many times have I said this, Lawrence?
Oh,
I've prayed for them more times
all the time
than I can think of, and I guarantee you that's more than any Democrat up there has ever done for them. But now it's turned into this thing where if your child is associated with Covenant in any way, shape, or form, even at the school, even if they were at home sick, all of a sudden you're an authority on firearms.
Yeah, that's right.
And
we did see that.
You're an expert on gun legislation.
Exactly. You're an expert on gun legislation. You know more than everybody else.
Constitutional law professors.
Absolutely. and again, I'm glad that they were there. My heart goes out to them. I feel terrible for them. But it's funny. We had a Democrat come stand up on the floor, and he said, you know, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, and I'm paraphrasing, they bow down to the gun lobbies and to the NRA and to this group and that group. And in the same breath, he said, Moms Demand Action, who's a lobbying group, Covenant Moms, who's technically a lobbying group.
Well, they are now.
And another lobbying group that are pro-Democrat. He said all three of those groups came up here and asked us to do one thing, and we hadn't done it. Well, you can't have it both ways. You can't complain about
you can bow to theirs, but you can't bow to these. It's rules for thee, not for me.
Right. Amen.
You can't complain about, which is, first of all, I don't bow down to no group. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you got. It don't affect me in any way, shape, or form. Now, those folks line up with what I believe in, so if they're going to support me, come on with it.
Come on, brother, preach it.
You know, I don't take my orders from nobody.
Right.
They do. That's the thing.
They do.
They are owned by the leftist lobbying groups. Yes. The Democrats are bought and paid for by the leftist lobbying groups. Yep. Guarantee it.
It's getting hot in here.
It is.
I mean, look, Kip's ready to open in your shirt right now.
Just a little decompression going on, folks. If you just tuned in, we've got Kip Capley. He's actually preaching right now. We're going to take up an offering here in a little while.
We're going to pass the hat here, folks.
But you know, I'm going to tell you something, and this is going to be controversial, so I'll get the controversy off of you now, Kip.
Okay.
But these doctors that demand gun action, does anybody?
Lab coats.
They were walking around in lab coats.
Not only are they walking around their lab coats, but has anybody seen who causes more deaths in the United States? Is it doctors or guns?
Oh, you had to go there.
I had to go. I'm going there, and this is from the CDC.
Joey Hensley will be calling in now.
Well, Joey,
he's dialing it. You go ahead, Joey. We'll answer it.
But Joey's one of the good ones.
I'm totally kidding. He knows. Yeah, I'm kidding. Here's the thing: you had all these professionals that were walking around talking about guns, like you said, in the lab coats.
When
I first saw that, I had to stop and just take a look at that. It almost looked like a Halloween costume party to me.
Political theater.
It was political theater at its best. But I learned a lot, guys. I will tell you guys, you're doing a lot in Lewis County. Of course, we're in presence here in Lawrence County. Kip, you're heavy presence in Murray County as well. And I'm going to be encouraging some folks to get involved in the press at the state capitol.
Yeah,
we need press passes. We need to start to investigating this.
Yes.
Of course, we're linked up with a couple of radio stations. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus and tell them that we're affiliated with them, but we've got some other radio stations that are kind of circling around from other counties and different places. This radio show it's broadcast online. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. As a matter of fact, if you're watching right now, hit the subscribe button. And even if you don't like it, just go ahead and give it a thumbs up while you're sitting there thinking about it right now. Send it to your favorite liberal. Just get them fired up. We're okay with it. But we're going to have to be proactive in this next session. And to me, I think the game has changed. You might say, well, you shouldn't call it a game, but it's starting to look like a game because I see how the players are going up there. It's being orchestrated. They're activists. You're hearing state senators. You're hearing state representatives say this is an activist that are now being elected. They're not legislators, but still we have activists with a seat at the table. And we're going to have to respond in a way to where we have our folks involved. Otherwise, they're going to take a few people. Just a few people that want gun legislation, just a few people. And it's not many. It's just a small corner of the room pushing for some of these extreme gun bans. They weren't up there trying to harden the schools. They weren't up there doing that like you said, Cody. Yeah. They wanted to ban 30-round magazines. They wanted to ban firearms. They hate an AR-15, even if it's a BB gun. They hate the way it looks.
They didn't even want school officers in the schools. That right there tells you, if you are that mentally deranged that you wouldn't even want school officers up there protecting your schools, that right there tells you where the agenda is.
But here's the thing. We had one legislature there, one activist there who had his personal bodyguards with weapons on the House floor escorting him around.
And they're not supposed to be there.
Also, standing up there saying we need to take guns away from...
Well, that's exactly what they do. That's exactly
y'all was
what
at our
doing.
last meeting when the Democrats showed up to our last meeting.
Oh,
and
the Lewis County meetings are so good. The Democrats show up. The chairperson for the Democrat Party came to the Lewis County Republican Party meeting. I saw it. I witnessed it with my own eyes.
And still had the gall to get up and say there was one lady that stood up and said we don't need an AR-15 to shoot a rabbit. I think is what she said.
Yeah, you're right.
We didn't need a weapon of war, is what she said.
Sure.
And another gentleman that's a veteran, he said, if I would have taken an AR-15 to the Persian Gulf with me, I wouldn't have lasted 15 minutes.
Wow.
That's right.
Well, that individual that actually said that in that meeting, that stood up and said that, referenced the prayer. You guys opened up and they said, well, I heard someone praying for the Republican Party. And I didn't say it, but I bit my tongue. But I'm going to say it now because I'm back home. So I'll say this, and this is the truth. I don't know why they want to mention God. They took God out of their platform a long time ago.
That is very true.
They took God out of their platform a long time ago.
Here's the thing, and I've been saying this for years, Brandon. If you believe in abortion, if you believe in homosexual marriage, if you believe taking away unalienable rights from people, you cannot be a Christian. Period. End of story. That is against what God is for. God even says in Jeremiah, I knew you before you were formed in the womb. And he means that. And if you have that, well, it's a woman's choice. It's a woman's body, my choice. But that didn't work with COVID, did it? I mean, did anybody see that working with COVID? But it's they're going to use their narratives to control, and that's what it's about. Don't mistake this. And Kip, you know this. It is all about control over us. It has nothing to do with freedoms. And if you start trying to take away my freedoms and you're trying to control me, that's when I'm going to fight back.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard we're coming for your kids, we're coming for your seats, we're coming for this, vote them out and all this. Come on. I mean, come to my district. Please, come to the 71st District and try it. I want you to. Please come to my district and try it.
That's right.
I want them to. Please.
Let them waste their money.
Well, I'm going to spin what you're saying. I'm going to spin what you're saying. It's time for the 71st District to start going to Nashville.
That's right.
Amen.
It's time for, I'm not sure which district you're in.
69.
69th District. Time for the 69th District to start going to Nashville. It's time for the 70th. It's time for all these different districts. Listen, to sit home and set this one out is forfeiting.
Yep.
We can forfeit. And what they're controlling is they're controlling the media. We watched this happen. Kip, I'll say this in front of you. I'll say it publicly.
Oh, yeah.
I'll say it anywhere. I am volunteering. If you want to change the committee rules, I volunteer my time. I'll take off work. You don't owe me anything. I'll bring lunch. I don't care. I will sit in there and I will testify to what I've seen from those who claim to be the parents of the Covenant School. God bless you if your children were hurt. God bless you if your children were affected with this.
Right.
That is terrible.
It is.
But it does not give you the right to go up and take my rights away. I'll pray for you. I'll pray with you. I hope everything is good there for those children there. It was traumatic, very traumatic. It's terrible. But it doesn't give you more of a seat at the table just because you've had a traumatic event in your family.
Well, and I think that's what was most frustrating about this special session. I watched committee hearing after committee hearing where there were Republican chairmen who were allowing any covenant mom to go up there and say whatever they wanted. And the minute a Republican started questioning them on where they got their facts from, shut it down.
Yep.
You know, we can't have that. No, you're not going to bully the covenant moms. You're out of order. We're moving on to the next person.
When it was just a legitimate question.
Yeah,
Well, we call them the commie mommies.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what they are. But to Brandon's point about the media, we had a lawsuit. That's what they love to talk about. I'm an attorney, so I get to talk about law.
Are you
just
a
little
conservative
bit.
attorney?
I'm a conservative attorney, and I'm
Do
proud
those
of it.
exist? I only know of one other. His name's Brent Cooper. I mean, well, I guess Caleb Bayless. I'm thinking about judges, but man, can I touch him?
Yeah,
Can I touch him?
It is very rare. It's very rare. But we heard a lot about this sign ban. They want to change the rules. They want to silence people. You're taking away their First Amendment.
Yep.
Well, guess what there is at the United States Capitol? There's a sign ban. Here's exactly what the Capitol Police put out. Any display of signs, banners, place cards, related items are strictly prohibited inside the congressional buildings. So are we really taking away First Amendment rights? Or are we doing exactly what they do in Washington, D.C.?
Come on, Joe Biden. You dropped the ball.
Come on.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Come on, man.
If you do that mess up there in D.C., guess what they're going to do?
No.
It ain't going to be just somebody walking over here and asking you to leave. It's going to you be toting off.
They
You
weren't
mean
waving
January the
signs.
6th? You
They
mean
weren't
still be in jail.
They
under
weren't
the
waving
jail?
signs outside of the committee rooms. I was there. When they would go in it, I didn't know they even had signs until we sat down and all these signs came out. And I'm like, where did this come from?
They were warned a half a dozen times, put your signs down. And they were even told you can hold your
Very
signs
respectfully.
up. That you
Very
can hold your
respectfully.
signs up until we start the proceedings. Once the proceeding starts, then put your signs down.
They would even let them raise the sign whenever they would go to legal. So they would say, all right, so we're gonna gavel out. We're gonna have legal answer some questions. As soon as they would gavel out, having legal answer questions, they would raise their signs up. No one said a word to them. No one stopped them.
It's all when the cameras are rolling.
That's
Right.
exactly
And who controls
what it
the
is.
cameras.
And so when you talk about your First Amendment rights, that's your freedom of the press and your freedom of speech. So I'm going to say this. If people are listening to this show and you've got a YouTube channel, if you're out there and you do a podcast, if you're out there and you've got a radio show, it's time for you to get involved. We can't set this one out anymore. We cannot hand our country over to 3 or 4 news stations in Nashville with some talking heads reading from a prompter, literally attacking our freedoms in this state and telling stuff that is just 100% a lie. There were a lot of lies that were spewed out by the media.
And there's that one that's on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, that's really just kicking our tails at everything. You know, when it comes to media, getting the video, getting their perspective on it. And I'm sure you've had a video camera in your face from him.
Oh, yeah, I was on there over the weekend. He got me. I was laughing at him, and I got a bunch of emails at the office asking why I was laughing at democracy. And I'm like, no, I'm not laughing.
It's not democracy, republic.
I'm laughing at an idiot that's got a camera.
But they're out. The Democrats are out working us there.
They are.
They really are.
Nothing would make me happier, and I promise you that this would be the best Christmas present, birthday present I could ever have in my life. Nothing would make me happier if we got that gallery full of Republicans, and when them 2 idiots stood up, y'all, whoever that were up there, would laugh them out of there. Nothing
I
would
say-
make me happy.
I say-
Boo 'em,
yeah.
it'd be amazing.
It would be, but you know what?
Sounds like
I
a
say
challenge there, doesn't it?
I hear the challenge. I accept the challenge. But I tell you what, I think more than that even. Start singing praise and worship songs because the demons can't take that. They will flee.
That'd be
Amen.
really good.
I got a question for you about the gallery. What are the rules on a legislator going up into the gallery during session? What are the rules?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really know what the rules are.
Okay. I appreciate you telling me.
I
you
really don't
I mean,
know
that's
because
fine.
It seems to me like it would be an ethics violation, but at
Absolutely.
the same time, they're a member, so it's kind of like they're moving freely in and out the chamber. So I could see that argument because, obviously I can't use the restroom while I'm in the chamber because we don't have bathrooms in there.
Sure.
You can make the argument that I'm moving freely, going to the hallway to go to the bathroom. That would be moving freely. But what was mentioned earlier about what they do in Congress, there's been some serious discussions about considering that for our chamber because if you're in D.C., and I'm pretty sure, and you'll have to fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure if you get above a whisper, you're gone.
Well, why don't we just adopt those
And
rules?
you
Well,
can't
that's what
just
I'm
show
saying.
up in D.C. You have to
No,
submit an application. You have
Well,
to
you
go
can-
through a screening process.
you
You
can't-
can't just show up and do it.
When we went up there,
if you want to have a demonstration, you have to apply to do it 2 weeks beforehand.
When we went up, we had a little group going through the Capitol building up there, and they said, before we go in here, do not say a word as soon as we open these doors. Because if you speak, and if they can hear you down there, every one of us are gone.
Yep.
I was like, well, crap, okay. But it was neat, it's the rules. But then you see up there, and it's like, what's wrong here?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
if it
that's-
can work there, it can work here.
That's what I was
exactly
saying. There's conversations of moving that direction for the next session.
Well, you all, it's on you guys. You're going to have to really be stepping your game up, and I hate to put something else on you.
No, yeah.
But I mean, and then another thing, I'll take it to another level. And sitting here with other Republican Party chairmen from other counties, if the chairman of these committees don't do their job, I'm going to be speaking out against it.
Yeah.
Right.
I am absolute. You have to do your job, and there is a guidelines for what the chairman are going to be doing, and maybe that needs to be refreshed in some of this, Kip. But if you can't maintain control of that room, thank you for your time. Have a seat off to the side and let someone else can. Let a real man do it. Someone's got a spine, Caleb. How about that?
This past week, we've seen people that were chairman and need to be chairman, and we've seen people that are chairman that don't even need to be on the committee.
Yeah, you are 100% right. I'm going to tell you something. One of the most impressive things I saw was our own Clay Doggett chairing. Clay knows how to chair a committee, buddy. And that gavel that comes down, that gavel comes down. It's not just little
I would
bitty
not lay
taps.
my hand down around his desk. I would not do that. Because he is going to smack that hand.
But not
with
only that,
gavel.
he knows how to control the crowd.
He did.
There was no problems when he was chairing.
None. And even Justin Jones even presented a bill during that committee. No problems whatsoever.
But you know what?
Because he knows what's going to happen. You know
yes.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But they know these spineless.
They've worked it out ahead of time. It's coordinated with these chairmen. They've talked to these chairmen. It looks coordinated. It looks like a B-rated movie.
Yeah.
You're
It's
sitting here going,
scripted.
this is not even, come on, man. This is amateur.
Well, the one chairman that lost control of one of the sessions, he was from Memphis, Republican, but yet that was where part of the problems. Pearson is from Memphis.
Well, you got Gillespie down there too from Memphis. That was just voting with them, but what drove me crazy was when Warner you can make that motion. It doesn't matter who's on that list to speak. If you want to make that motion, you can, and it's done.
Right.
And if you want to, you can object to it, and you can take a vote on it. And guess what? The majority wants to go. The motion's passed, and it's going to vote.
Well, here's my biggest problem with the whole thing. Democrats walk together lockstep. They do not deviate from each other. We had a bunch of chairmen up there who were voting against their own members, who were silencing them when they were trying to speak facts. We don't work together as a party, and that's what we need to improve on.
We don't support each other.
What you're trying to do with Lawrence County, Lewis County, unite us, is what we should be doing with our leadership. leadership up there right now. They need that.
And it comes, and you guys are doing it. I mean, you brought Jody Barrett in. And I mean, there's a lot of people that probably wouldn't have brought Jody in, but you brought Jody in, let Jody speak, and that goes for me. I mean, I came up there to y'all's meeting because I wanted to talk to Jody, not just blast him on radio without hearing his side of the story.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, if the leadership had done that just a little bit better, Jody might not have been put in the position to vote the way he did with Gloria Johnson.
That's correct. Yeah. That's correct.
It's almost like just what we have here is a failure to communicate. It really is.
Yep.
It's like we're the super majority. We don't have to worry about nothing, and we're just going to run things the way we want to run it. And then speaker's going to have this man go talk for this one and assume that got done, that was communicated this way, when it's like, no, you're whatever you wanted done there did not get done.
Yep.
When you actually should have been communicating that yourself, which this is just my observation on the outside.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And you can weigh in on what's actually happening.
Yeah.
But, it's like it's not that it's out of just not wanting to, it's out of just being complacent. This is how we've always done things. Yep. This is how we're going to run. But that just because it's the way it's always been done doesn't mean that's the right way to be done. Sure.
Well, you and you and I, Kip, have talked about this, and you've actually have had a very good experience with leadership, have you not?
I have. Yeah, they've been really good to me. But it's a two-way street, right? If I go to leadership and I have a conversation with leadership, just like I did on the vote to adjourn. I mean, I went to the speaker, I went to the majority leader, I went to the whip, I went to the assistant majority leader. I told everybody. Before it happened, I said, look, if this comes up, I've told my people back home where I am, if there's one thing in this world I'm not, it's a liar. If a motion to adjourn comes up, I'm voting for it. That's it. It's not really up for debate. It is what it is. And all of them were like, that's fine. I mean, you told us, you're honest about it, you're not waiting 10 minutes before the vote to tell me something, you're good. And that's been the end of it. And that's been the case for, I would say, a majority of things up there, but it takes effort not only on their part, but on my part. I can't expect to just go up there and freelance and do whatever I want and expect them, if I blindside them or catch them off guard or whatever, and expect them not to be upset. Like if there's communication, going back to what you were saying, and there's no surprises, which is the biggest thing, then we're fine. And that's how I've been treated as far as that's going. I mean, I hadn't had any problems at all.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that too, and I just think there's my dad always told me there's two sides to every story, and a lot of times the truth is somewhere in the middle, and that's the key thing, and that's what Brandon keeps talking about. Let's find out. I mean, you talked to Scott Sapicki today. Scott Sapicki's taking a lot of heat right now.
Yes.
And from what I have heard from my end, he has reason for the heat. But again, let's give them a microphone and let's have them talk.
And that's why my hat's off to you guys for bringing Jody Barrett in.
Yeah,
This is the kind of this is what we're here to do.
Sure.
The county parties are here to give a platform for people like Kip, Jody Barrett, Joey Hensley,
Clay Doggett,
Paige Walley. They get a chance, and so we've opened this up. For our elected officials. Of course, Kip's got his own show on here on Monday. He just loves hanging out with us. That's why he came in on Wednesday.
Right.
I mean, we're all like-minded people. I mean, it's like you hit it off. But the thing is we have to create that opportunity. And I'll say this publicly because I say it privately all the time. Mm-hmm. The Bible says that a man's words comes from his heart. Yep. Put a microphone in their hand and listen to what's in their heart. And so I don't have to go around. I don't feel like I have to go around on this radio show tearing people down. You'll hear me. I'm not a name caller. I don't call people names. Yeah. I'm not. That's what the left does. Yep. It's garbage. It's trash. And you know what it means? It means they don't have an argument. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some facts. And then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand them the microphone. I would absolutely love to get liberals in here to debate.
They're not going to do that.
And I mean, you talk about Lawrence will tell you this is my thing. Okay, I can debate with the liberal, and I won't call them a name. I won't get mad, and I'll even give them respect. And we can even walk away from the table and say we disagree. Yeah. Now they're going to go home and they're going to stare up at the ceiling when we get done because I'm fixing to slice and dice on some of their ideology. But we have to put a microphone in their hand and say, "Speak. Tell us who you are." It's the Joe Biden type campaigns you see. Hide in the basement. Don't let them talk. That's how they get elected. Yep. We have to stop that. We have to put an end to that, and it's the county parties going to be doing
it. Like you said, it's all like what they run on. And I've talked with a lot of people. I'm active in politics, and people that aren't active, they hear third grade retention law, and they get that headline and they assume it's all this. Yep. But then when you actually start digging down, and when I had a lot of people reach out and we're talking about it, and when I start digging into the stuff, they said, "Well, I get the point there, but you're not going to get that." And just like safe gun storage.
Yep.
Oh, why would you be against that?
Right.
Why would you be against safe gun storage? I said, okay. So if you're going to put that on the law book, that means that a police officer can knock on your door and say, I've got on my list you have X, Y, Z guns. We need to come check your safe. Mm-hmm. That's what that opens. And when I'm telling these people that aren't connected, they're like, yeah, they don't need to have the rights to do that. I said, this is why they are voting against it.
Sure.
Right. This is why it's not being heard, because it's not constitutional.
Right.
And when you can actually have those conversations and not just get those big, broad talking points, that's when people can sit there and say, okay, this makes sense.
But that's all we hear from them. That's the problem.
They control the media.
I can't tell you. I watched almost every floor session. I can't tell you how many times I heard the words proliferation of guns because that's the only lines they know. So they can't sit there and have an intelligent conversation with you. They get their little scripted media guide, and they go and they hit their high points, and you don't hear anything else from them. And that's why I think we saw the House devolve into chaos when they adjourned yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
they were throwing their fit.
And there's
didn't go their way.
There's video of William Lamberth trying to have a conversation. He's saying, calm down. If you want to get your point across, calm down and talk to us. And at the same time, all you hear back is, you're a racist, you're a white supremacist, get out of my face.
And he walked into his face.
Right. And he's screaming, get out of my face, while continually walking his direction.
Exactly.
It makes no sense. They're the party of emotion.
They are.
They are. Well, you said it great just a minute ago, Cody, when you said the complacency has got us in this problem. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to tell you, I'm an analytical thinker, so here's the way I see this situation we're in the state of Tennessee. The left has watched our complacency. Mm-hmm. They've actually seen it, and they plotted this plan. This plan has been plotted to take advantage of the fact that we're complacent. And if they can move fast, and then if they can get enough done, they can get a lot done before we get awake. Yep. I'm going to tell you the answer to this. No more complacency.
Well, that's why we got started in Lewis County. It was in 2020 is how me and Caleb was texting. we text pretty often. But we was texting because Biden-Harris signs started popping up all over town. And we're like, what the crap?
What?
We're said
in Lewis County. That's pretty rare.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, hold on. Something's got to be done here. I'm not going to sit back and watch this. So we started texting. We're trying to figure out if there's a party. We couldn't figure out.
You sound like Lawrence and Brandon.
So literally, like, I couldn't get. I was trying to get with the state party. Couldn't get them to return a email or a text or anything. Really? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start up a Facebook page.
Yeah.
So I started up Lewis County Republican Facebook page, and I said, I want to buy some signs. Who wants to buy some signs? So I got with Mike Ricketts, the shop there in the middle of town that makes signs and stuff. I said, Mike, how much would it cost us to make signs and get them out? And he gave me a price, and I said, all right, if you'll buy a sign, I'll go put it up somewhere. If you want to buy a sign, put it in your yard, I'll have them. You come pick them up. So I think we bought like 30 or 40, put them all around town, because I'm like, I'm not going to sit back and watch this, because if we do nothing, they're going to step in and they're going to be the ones controlling everything. And I'm like, I'm not having it.
Wow. So how does evil persist? evil persists when good men do nothing.
That's the truth.
And that's why we've had to get involved. Brandon and I, we were having these conversations like in 2022, and I'm going to tell you something. One of the main reasons that I got involved in politics is because he's sitting across from me right now, because I saw a young man that I could believe in that wanted to go up there and protect my family.
He's the youngest, right?
He is. He is only like 4 years older than my son.
He's a man child.
And but you know what? I heard his voice and what he wanted to do, and I'm like, you know what? He can go up there and represent me. He's one of the first ones I've heard that from. So I'm like, you know what? We got to get involved.
Well, it's our generation too, because I'm just 30. Myself, we're both 30. It's our generation that's got to get prepared to take over things.
Yeah.
You look at especially our state senate, not to be on them or nothing, but you look at our Republicans on our state senate. It's like they're not going to be able to be there another 20 years.
Well,
another 10,
you heard
15
Paige
years.
say it looks like a nursing home in there, so the old folks home.
Hey,
So
he did say that. So
I'm quoting him.
You are, and every now and then, it might be nap time up there. I don't know.
the new generation, has got to be ready to lead.
And we've got to pick them.
Yeah,
We've got to pick who's going to go up there.
Yeah.
And we're not complacent. So when we start to respond, they're going to be surprised that we're not complacent anymore. So get ready, Lewis County. I'm going to be calling you.
Yep.
We need to be up there. I think we should start planning to be up there day one, the first legislative
Absolutely.
session. I think we need to be standing on there. Let's take off work.
It's like the.
While Kip's looking that up, we're talking about generations and everything.
Yeah.
We got a buddy of ours over in Wayne County, John Harper.
Yep.
And John Harper, Wayne County lost one of their the best citizen that they had over there. Kip knows him well. He passed away Monday, August 28th. I'm just going to read this. I told John I would read this on the air. Yeah. Wayne County, the state of Tennessee in the United States of America, is a lesser place as of Monday, August 28th, when James Coy Anderson went to meet his Heavenly Father. That right there is the best thing you could ever hear. Went to meet his Heavenly Father. Coy never met a stranger. He was a friend to all. Born November 14th, 1945, and called Waynesboro, Tennessee, his home for 77 years. He loved God, his family, people, history, and his country. He was a lifelong member of the Cumberland Presbyterian Church and served as an elder multiple terms and Sunday school teacher and his children's time leader. He graduated from the University of Tennessee, Martin Branch. He was a teacher, guidance counselor, and principal at Wayne Middle and High School. He was assistant football coach and head girls basketball coach at Waynesboro Middle School and coached baseball at the high school. He served on the Waynesboro City Commissioner and later as a city judge. In 1986, he was elected Wayne County Executive and served 3 terms. Coy was a proud veteran and wanted to make sure that all veterans were recognized for their services. He was First Sergeant, retired 194th Engineer Brigade, Headquarters Company, Tennessee Army National Guard, and served on active duty during the Vietnam War. He was captain of the 48th Tennessee Infantry. Founder and prior post commander of the American Legion Post 130, he initiated the bus program at the Legion Hall for current and prospective members to enjoy morning coffee, breakfast, and fellowship. He led numerous honor guard ceremonies at the funeral of veterans. He envisioned and implemented an honorarium for veterans of his church that had passed. On Memorial Day, each had a cross with their names, branch of service, birth, and death date. He was a master of ceremonies for the memorable day celebration at the War Memorial in the square in Waynesboro for countless years. He was flag coordinator for the Flag Day program every year. He made sure that every veteran of the Wayne County had a flag placed at their grave. He coordinated routes and guided personnel. He led a program, sent 2 candidates every year from the Wayne County to Tennessee American Legion Boys State and teaches civics and government to our youth. In 2006, he became director of South Central Human Resource Agency in Fayetteville, Tennessee, and retired in 2016. The family asked, in lieu of flowers, instead of flowers being sent, to send donations to the Butterfly Foundation, which is a cancer organization, and or post 130 of the American Legion. I told him everybody go to Shackelford Funeral Home in Waynesboro to find out the dates and the times of the celebration of this man's life. I'm going to say this: well done. Yeah. That's a person that's going to hear, Amen. Well done, my good and faithful servant.
Yes,
that was a well-lived life.
And that's the kind of people, as you were talking about, Cody, we've got to actually fill those shoes somehow.
Yeah,
you know, this generation's got to step up.
Talk about him real quick, Kip.
He never met a stranger. I'll tell you what. He was one of the first people when I was campaigning in Wayne County that actually took the time. I'll be honest with you. When I first got over there, it was cold.
Oh, yeah, you had two candidates over there.
I had two Wayne County guys running against me. I'm this feller from Lawrence County, and they're like, I don't know about this guy. He never treated me that way. Every time I saw him, it's just like clockwork. He was nice, told me he was praying for me. I mean, that's you want to talk about some shoes to fill.
Yeah, big shoes.
Big ones. Wayne County took a hit on that one, but we know he's in a better place. So,
Amen.
Y'all please pray for his family.
Yep.
Amen. Sorry for your loss to the family and to the county and the community there.
That's right.
Because he was definitely
a great leader, it sounds like.
It does.
Yes.
He's a giant for sure.
It does. We hate to hear about that. Also, be praying for the Sundquist family because they did, and Paige has mentioned it, that Don Sundquist was a friend of his back years ago, and they were Republicans when being Republican wasn't cool.
Not very cool at all.
And so, what you guys are doing in Lewis County, I'm sitting here on a lighter note, and I'm looking across the table, and I'm like, let's see, Cody and Caleb, Brandon and Lauren. I'm starting to see a little bit of resemblance here. I'm like, this is some stunt doubles, Lawrence. So they got stunt doubles on the scene for us. If it gets nasty over here, we may call you guys to step in for us for a little bit or something. I'm just kidding.
I'm calling Kip. I'm calling Kip.
I'm going to tell you,
I don't blame you.
What you guys are doing over there is awesome, and thank you for standing up for freedom. Thank you for your conservatism, even if you are an attorney, Caleb. We need some conservative attorneys. I know you take a lot of heat for that, but Cody, appreciate you.
I appreciate all you're doing. You're leading the charge over here. You got this show going on to spread our side. Kip and all his colleagues up there on the House. I appreciate all the work they're doing.
Yes,
my rep, Jody Barrett, I'm
Jody.
proud of what he's done for us. He's represented our district well.
Yep.
He stood in places that I wouldn't want to stand.
That's right.
And has taken a beating.
Yep.
But I'll take a man that will stand there and stand behind his word and do what he said. So
exactly right.
I do appreciate what he's done, and then our both of ours. Dr. Joey, we appreciate all he does for us.
Shout out Big Joey Hensley, baby.
Love Joey. I was on the phone with Joey for 10 minutes today, and Joey's going through with everything that was going on in the Senate, and I'm not even his constituent anymore.
Can I say something real quick about Joey? This is just a test to Joey Hensley's character. He called me and just to make sure that I was not mad at him when the Senate only was wanting to hear 3 bills.
I can believe that.
He called me and asked
that.
me. He said, "I don't think this is true." He's saying, "I don't think you are, but I'm just calling to make sure that there's not a rift or you're okay with me." And I'm like, dog. I don't even know what to say. That was so considerate of him to just call. I mean, just call me.
He's a good man. He is a good man. He's a treasure over for Lewis County.
Yeah.
Well, we got 1 minute left, Cody. Tell me what's going to happen in Lewis County in the next few months.
So the next few months, we're trying to get a Christmas dinner planned. We're working on that. I'll be inviting all you guys over.
Sure.
We're going to be meeting September the 14th next month because of Labor Day pushing around our county commissioner meeting. We try to not plan around our county meetings.
Okay.
But we've got a lot of good things going. We're going to have a race coming up in the next few months. State rep race again. So yeah, we'll be sending you guys invites.
Absolutely.
And if there's anything we can help with, let us know.
Yeah, special thanks to you being here. Special thanks to Lawrence County Republican Party, because they're the ones that actually pay for this, put this on.
Yeah.
We volunteer the time, but they're actually funding it, and we appreciate it.
We appreciate y'all having us over too.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
God
you,
bless.
WDXC, too.
God bless you
This
all.
is WDXE, W287AA, and W237FD Lawrenceburg. Broadcast services of Prospect Communications.
This is The Rich Eisen Show.
Challenged him, and this game is